Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cheap Truth YouTube channel. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Thanks once again, for checking in with the Cheap Truth. On today, we are going to be talking about this Robert Griffin III and Ryan Clark situation, man. So if you haven't heard, if you haven't seen it up and down your timeline at some point this week, RG3 and Ryan Clark got into a bit of a back and forth. And it all had to do with some comments that Robert Griffin III made about Angel Reese. And, over the past weekend, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark took to the courts for the first game of the WNBA season. Well, their first game of the new season. And Fever ended up beating them pretty bad. And during the game, there was a situation, incident that happened where Caitlin Clark ended up fouling Angel Reese pretty hard. And I mean, it was just a good foul, good hard foul. It was clean. Nothing was dirty about it. I think Caitlin Clark ended up getting a flagrant for it, but it wasn't necessarily like a dirty play or anything. Just a hard foul. Didn't want her to get a easy layup. But of course, Angel Reese wasn't trying to hear all that. She got up like she wanted to throw hands and engage in fisticuffs with Miss CC, Miss Caitlin Clark. And yeah, so it became a big topic of conversation. And Robert Griffin ended up putting out a tweet about it, basically saying that Angel Reese hated Caitlin Clark, and he gave some reasons why, man. So let's take a look at his video.
So where was this type of reaction last year when Angel Reese got chokeslammed by Alyssa Thomas of the Connecticut Sun? Y'all remember that? She got fouled so hard, they kicked Aaliyah Thomas out the game with a flagrant 2 foul. What did Angel Reese do? Nothing. She didn't get up and try to swing on her. You know why? The reaction was different because of who did it. And there is a lot of history there with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. You guys remember last year when Angel Reese celebrated Kennedy Carter getting that flagrant foul on the hip check against Caitlin Clark? You remember that? On the sideline, just, yeah, baby, get her, you get her. Who celebrates like that for a flagrant foul on another player if they don't dislike that player? Okay, you want some more evidence? Here's some more evidence. Remember last year when they were talking about who gets the credit for the expansion and the eyeballs and the popularity boost of women's basketball? Not just the WNBA, but women's basketball in general, because of the spike in the women's NCAA tournament and WNBA viewership. A lot of people were attributing that to Caitlin Clark, and rightfully so. This is what Angel Reese had to say, and I quote, "People are talking about women's basketball. You never would think they'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to the games. We got celebrities coming to the games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. Just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on to be that for my teammates. I know I'll go down in history. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, the reason we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. I want y'all to realize that." Now, I heard a lot of people say that I or others have made Angel Reese the villain. Did you not just hear herself call herself the bad guy? She called herself the villain. I'm not making her the villain. She's making herself the villain.
All right, so as you can see, RG3 really believes that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, and she doesn't like her at all, and that there's some resentment there, etc. Me personally, I kind of agree with RG3 on this one. I think that he makes some good points. I agree with him. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the word hate. I feel like hate is a very strong word. I can't look into Angel Reese's soul and determine if she hates Caitlin Clark, but I do think that there's some dislike there. I think that there's some disdain. And if you bring up Caitlin Clark's name around Angel Reese, I don't think it makes her all warm and fuzzy inside. In all honesty, it probably makes her want to throw up. I think Angel Reese looks at Caitlin Clark with a side eye, with envy, because she looks at Caitlin Clark and she thinks to herself like, damn, that should be me. Like, all the recognition that y'all giving her, all the kudos that y'all giving her and treating her like she's some messiah for women's basketball, that should be me. Or at the very least, I should be getting way more credit than I'm given, which is borderline nothing. And I think she looks at that and she's like, damn, I'm supposed to be getting those accolades. I'm supposed to be getting that recognition. I'm supposed to be getting that attention. It's just like she said last year, as I think RG3 mentioned in his video, that she was like, well, people watch women's basketball because of me too. It's not because of one person. And of course, we know that she was talking about Caitlin Clark. That was a kind of a sneak diss to Caitlin Clark and all the people who have been supporting her and I guess kind of anointing her as the women's basketball messiah. And she didn't like that because she feels like, hey, I'm the one who beat her in the NCAA tournament. My team beat her. I won the championship. She didn't win nothing. Okay, y'all want to get mad at me for doing the little you can't see me thing in front of her, but look, I beat her. I have celebrities pulling up the games too. I got Lotto pulling up to these games. I got people behind me. I got a podcast. I'm the one that's I got endorsement deals too. I got endorsement deal with Reebok. Why y'all ain't giving me the same attention? So I believe that there is some disdain there. And like I said earlier, I don't know if I could say hatred, but it's clear as day that she really don't fuck with Caitlin Clark. For all the reasons that I mentioned and also the reasons that RG3 mentioned in his video. And look, Angel can feel however she wants to feel, but let's not get it twisted. CC moves the needle. Okay, she's been moving the needle since college. She came into college moving the needle, and she's still doing the same thing in the WNBA. I mean, remember last year where they had to actually move games around because of CC and the draw that she had and the audience that she was going to attract. They actually had to move games. Hey, we can't have it here, so we got to move it to a bigger venue because CC's coming into town. Look, I love Asia Wilson. I love Breonna Stewart and Kelsey Plum and Nafisia Collier. Great players, man, but ain't now one of them doing that. Not even Asia. And I love Asia. But let's just call it what it is, man. CC, she came in and she changed the game. And folks just got to accept that, man. But yeah, getting back to RG3 and Ron Clark. So RG3 said what he said, put out the tweet, put out the video, and Ron Clark responded to him via his Pivot podcast. And this is what he had to say.
We moved in to being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul. That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what Black women have to endure in this country, about what young Black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think Asia Wilson is the face of the league. Asia Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what Black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important it was. And he always points out on social media the color of his wife's skin. as if the color of her skin is what makes her special, as if the color of her skin is what makes her a good wife. I've met the lady, I've had a conversation with her.
Right.
I think she's more than that. But it also leads to what Black women deal with a lot from Black men who have chose to date or marry outside of their race. They always feel like they have to go the extra mile to prop up the woman that they're married or the woman that they're with over Black women by denigrating Black women. I feel like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlin Clark is as well. Caitlin Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the Black women that have come before her. And now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes. And I think this is what I'd like RG3 to know, that no matter how much he continues to echo the microaggressions of racists, he'll be no less Black than me.
So RG3 followed up with another video. I'm not going to show that here, but he had another video where he basically was saying Ryan Clark came out and attacked me, attacked my family, and that just wasn't cool. And he crossed the line. And then Ryan Clark responded with this tweet right here saying, bruh, you know what it is with me and you. I saved you the entire season on Monday Night Football. Urge people to let you be you, no matter how corny, how bad a teammate you were. I had your back. What did you do? Invite someone on your show you know I don't fool with to ask questions about me, and then hit me weeks later to tell me you're going to challenge one of my takes. You're a phony, bro. One of the worst teammates I ever had, both on the field and in TV. You got to do what you got to do. I didn't attack your wife. I spoke on what you do on social media and TV. Like I said, I met your wife and she seemed like a lovely lady that was worth more than the color of her skin. You be good, bro. All right, so a lot to unpack there, man. So I guess I'll start off by saying I do think that him bringing up his wife, I think that was wrong. I don't think that it was necessary, and I feel like we can clearly see that Ryan Clark don't mess with RG3 at all. He don't mess with him, and I think that at the first moment, the first sign, the first opportunity that he had to take some pop shots at RG3, he took them. And RG3 coming out saying this stuff about Angel Reese, that was the perfect opportunity for Ryan Clark to come out and tell everybody how he really feel about RG3. Now, some of the things that Ryan Clark was talking about in that video, I actually do agree with. When he was mentioning the whole thing with interracial relationships and how there is a tendency for people in those relationships to want to denigrate their own race in an attempt to prop up their partner, or I guess appease to them. I do agree with that, and I think that that does happen a lot. As far as interracial relationships, I don't have a problem with it per se. Me personally, I could never see myself dating outside of my race. Like, I couldn't see myself dating a white girl or dating an Asian girl or anything like that. But I honestly feel like love, loyalty, honor, respect, that doesn't have a color. So at the end of the day, if you find somebody who meets your needs and meets your criteria for a partner and who shows you love, honor, respect, everything that you desire, but they just so happen to be a different color than you, and you're okay with that, well, then go for it. Who cares? Now, in saying that, I do feel like people in interracial relationships, a lot of the times, the reason why they end up in those interracial relationships can be traced back to something happening in their life. Usually some sort of event or some sort of trauma that they went through with somebody of their own race. Because naturally, as a, like me as a black man, I want to be with a black woman. That's just natural. As a black woman, they naturally want to be with black men. White women naturally want to be with white men. White men naturally want to be with white women, and so on and so forth. So when somebody deviates from that, it just kind of raises the flag that there probably was something that happened to them. Like Terrell Owens. Remember Terrell Owens, former NFL wide receiver, Hall of Fame wide receiver? He came out a few years back and said that he gravitated toward white girls because all the black girls used to diss him back in the day. So he was getting dissed by the black girls and they were making fun of him. And so he ended up taking a liking to white women. And I don't know what happened with RG3. Maybe something similar happened to him. Maybe he got made fun of by black women, black girls, or maybe he just grew up in a white neighborhood and that's all that was there. It was just white women, white girls. So he naturally just gravitated toward white girls. And that's the only thing that he will date and marry from now on, which that's his choice. And apparently Ryan Clark doesn't like the fact that he made that choice. Now, the thing that I dislike about people like Ryan Clark, man, is somehow, some way they just got to tie every goddamn thing back to the revolution, man. Everything just got to be, man, well, we got to protect black women. How did you end up extracting that from what RG3 said? Because all RG3 did was just speak the truth. She don't like the girl. And it's clear as day that she don't like her, man. It's clear as day that Angel Reese do not like Caitlin Clark, man. Like I said earlier, I don't necessarily agree with the word hate, but I get the overall premise. I get what he was saying overall, and I agree with it. What the hell does this have to do with protecting black women, man? I don't get it, man. I don't get it, bro. Like, there's no way that I would have extracted, well, we got to protect black women. RG3 is talking about this black woman, and he's talking down on her to prop his white wife up. Like, huh? And the microaggressions and not like, bro, what are you even talking about, man? What? Like, bro, you are trying way too hard, man. And I don't know whether this comes from, because, you know, he went to LSU and Angel Reese went to LSU too. So I don't know if that's maybe where some of this is coming from. Maybe he feels like I got to defend my fellow LSU alum here. But ultimately, I just think that this is kind of who Ryan Clark is. He has a history of race baiting, and he, along with Bo Money Jones, and I love Bo Money. I absolutely positively love Bo Money. That's my boy. But even I got to admit that Bo Money is one of the biggest race baiters out there. There are times when I'm listening to him and I'm just like, how did you even like think of that? Like that has nothing to do with, like, somehow, some way, there just got to be a racial component to what you're saying, and you have to make sure that everybody knows. Jamel Hill, she does the same thing. She's included in that number as well. She's a big race baiter. Everything has to tie back to the revolution and all of that stuff, man. So yeah, but as far as this Ryan Clark and RG3 situation and wrapping this puppy up here, I do think that Ryan Clark was out of line for mentioning RG3's wife, because if the roles were reversed and RG3 said the same thing about Ryan Clark and mentioned his wife, Ryan Clark would be ready to fight. I do think that he made some decent points as far as interracial relationships, but I don't think that it was that deep, man. The where he took it to, it wasn't that deep. But like I said, this is just who Ryan Clark is. Big race baiter. And he just has a tendency to get into it with people. Remember, what was that, man? Like, not even, like a few months ago, he got into it with Marcellus Wiley. You know what I'm saying? And it sounded like they wanted the fight damn near. And Ryan Clark has had his fair share of issues over the years. Remember, a long time ago, he got into it with Stephen A. Smith. And he was telling Stephen A. Smith where he could pull up and talk to him in person. And then I think there was a story that came out about him and Sage Steele when she worked at ESPN, and he wouldn't do a segment with her because she said something about Barack Obama. Just all sorts of crazy ass shit, man, going on with Ryan Clark. So, but yeah, man, you guys let me know what you think about this story, man, what you think about this situation. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Drop a comment down in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video before you leave, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, man. So as always, count your blessings, not your problems. I'm out. Peace.